Hello and welcome to our Lakeside chat. We are David Wofford and Katie Noonan, co-chairs of the Rotary Nature Center Friends. And we're so happy that you can join us tonight.
As we begin our program, it is important for us to acknowledge that we are on stolen land, that Lake Merritt is part of Ohlone territory. We hear now from Corinna Gould, spokesperson for the Confederated Villages of LaShawn and co-founder of Segura Te Land Trust.
Good afternoon, relatives. My name is Corinna Gould. I am the spokesperson for the Confederated Villages of LaShawn. We are here today at what most folks think of as Lake Merritt. We are in the territory of Huichin. Huichin is actually a territory that encompasses 6 Bay Area cities: Oakland, Berkeley, Alameda, Emeryville, Albany, and Piedmont. And this was a place of abundance. I'm so happy that people from all walks of life that now come into our territory can enjoy this beautiful place that my ancestors have enjoyed since the beginning of time. My relationship to the land that I have been born to, raising my children and grandchildren here, has been to tell the story, the truth of what happened on this land before other people came here. I'm hoping that as we begin to learn these lessons of fires in California, the pandemic that's happening, that human beings come back to living in reciprocity with the earth.
Thank you, Corinna. I'm going to screen share briefly. We would like to say that we grieve and we are concerned, along with many conservationists and scientists in this day, in this moment, about the support and the support for scientists and scientific understanding of our world. And I wanted to share with you that one of the organizations which Rotary Nature Center Friends has been working with for over a decade is the GLOBE program, Global Learning and Observation to Benefit the Environment, which is sponsored by U.S. governmental agencies such as NASA, NOAA, and so forth. And changes have been communicated to us about the kinds of programs will be available to us. The Rotary Nature Center is in fact a GLOBE location and hydrology station. I wanted to share with you some photos and ask you where you think these photos may have been taken. And if somebody wanted to, well, we have pictures here of a demonstration in San Francisco on the left, of course. And then in the middle and the side, we have photos of one of the teachers at St. Paul's School and also a board member of Rotary Nature Center Friends. And he is doing water testing in what looks like it could very well be Lake Merritt, but it is not. This location is Lake Ohori in Fukuoka, Japan. This is Lake Merritt's, this is Oakland's sister city. And Tony made a trip there last week and did water testing right there. And it could easily have been a picture of Lake Merritt. But if you look above Tony's head, you will see some very interesting vehicles that are traveling on the other side of that boom that are shaped like swans. And so a lot of comparisons and interesting comparisons discussed, in fact, by Alan Alden in his book, Deep Oakland. If you want to take a look there, it's a fascinating comparison. So we have a couple slides to share, hopefully. Yes, we would also like to share with you that Rotary Nature Center Friends has launched 2 big projects in this coming season. In particular, we have decided to purchase a professional multi-probe sonde so that we can continue our water testing with a professional instrument so that we can collect data as we have for the last 2.5 years. And we are very grateful to Christina Yoshida of the Water Boards for helping us out, coming out to train us in the calibration and use of the sonde that you'll see her demonstrating, so that we can continue to train and allow youth to test the water in the lake and become aware, learn technology that's used in science exploration and so forth. We've also made some progress in our Chinook salmon study, and I will not say much about this here, but our next Lakeside chat will feature a salmon biologist, Emily Chen, who's going to talk about the salmon life cycle and how we study them and what the big questions are for that. Okay, so next, briefly, it's important for us to let everybody know who we are. We are Rotary Nature Center Friends, an independent 501c3 nonprofit. We are not part of the City of Oakland or part of the Rotary Nature Center itself. Our focus of activities are community science and environmental justice. We involve the public and especially youth in testing water, plankton, and biodiversity. And we build community and understanding of the natural world we live in through a variety of activities. You can follow these if you go to our Facebook website, our Facebook page rather, where I post all of the recent happenings. Next, we have a board of directors that includes educators, scientists, and teachers, just a bunch of people really excited about this idea of making the Lake Merritt a hub of science and education and for everybody in the city of Oakland. And I want to thank you for listening to all of our updates and really encourage you to check out our website and especially our Facebook page to see what we're actually doing on a day-by-day basis. We're very active. Now introduce our speaker, who has been gracious enough to take us on one of her bird walks at Lake Merritt that she does every month with the Golden Gate Bird Alliance as a volunteer for that organization, and with a number of other people who are her helpers. And Hilary has been doing this for 15 years. And so her observations and her knowledge that she has is a real treasure. And not only that, she's always helping us to open our eyes when we go to the lake and see new things in a new way. And it's a wonderful way of expressing that. You know, one of the glories of this Zoom presentation mode is that you can interact directly with the speaker, and it's really a great privilege to have you here, Hilary. Want to acknowledge also our producer, Rob Lamone, who has done a fabulous job working with Hilary and putting together this incredible video and otherwise slide presentations. They've been working really hard on this. Okay.
I'll put this thing together. The walk that we're filming tonight was done last Wednesday.
So you know it's up to date. This is like the minute.
Wednesday of last week.
Things. Yes. Okay. So Hilary, are you ready to take the floor?
Absolutely.
All right. I will bow out then, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, Katie, for putting this thing on. I often feel like my piece of it is the least of what's required to make this happen. Why don't we cut straight to the video, since the video is the beginning of the bird walk from the fourth Wednesday in February.
What a beautiful day. Welcome all to this marvelous, beautiful May day in the middle of February. It doesn't get better than this. We still have most of the winter birds, including the Barrow's golden eyes, out there behind the islands, which we came We met here on the rocks for the first time because somebody said, "Go to the rocks, you will see the Barrow's golden eyes." And we went to the rocks and we didn't see the Barrow's golden eyes, but we realized that this was the place to meet, rather than out there in the path. Of course, the path is empty today too. Normally that path is shoulder to shoulder baby carriages and dog walkers. And whole classes full of kids come through and it's a big mess. Today we could meet over there with no problem. But this is really the place to be. We're going to take off and walk down the lake a ways. I want to see what's at El Embarcadero, but we don't have to go all the way down there unless there's something amazing swimming around that we can see through the scopes. The deal with the scopes, if somebody says loud enough for you to hear, "I've got a blue-headed what's in the scope," it means come and take a quick look and let somebody else have a peek. It does not mean, "and I can see it and you can't." So scopes like to be looked through. The way it was explained to me when I started birding was binoculars are monogamous. They don't like to be shared. But scopes are polygamous. Scopes are happier the more people look through them. Okay, so down here on the beach, there's a coot walking out of the water. If you can pick him up right off to your right there, the one that just walked up on the shore.
Got him.
Because see if you can get a focus on his feet. Coot feet are one of the wonders of the world.
They really are. Look at those feet. They don't have webs, they have lobes.
Right here.
And what that means is that the coot can come out of the water like this and walk around like a chicken. And then he can go back in the water, put his toes together, and swim like a duck.
You see the three white birds in the tree that's fallen into the lake? There's a bunch of white birds in a tree.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those are snowy egrets, and I was hoping to cut a little picture of one in there so you could see it.
Got a common golden eye swimming across here. Just dived. Tiki-ta, tiki-ta, tiki-ta. Ooh, merganser. We got
Where?
a bufflehead on the lake in at that angle. Just dived. What's behind it? From where I'm standing, there's a gray building with balconies over there between the trees.
Yep.
The merganser is about halfway out on the lake. Is it up yet? I haven't found it again yet. I can see where it dived. Right. Oh, pair-eared grebes coming right by in front of us here.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Got these little greeby guys.
Little swimming powder puffs. They're not going to need this.
These are Western? Did you say?
Those are eared grebes. Western grebes are 4 times that size. The problem with grebes is that they have a special sensor built into their brains. And when the sound grebe enters it, they dive. In another couple of months, they will look completely different. Right now, they're all gray, 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 gray. But in a couple of months, when they switch to their breeding plumage, they look like jeweler's work. They're copper and steel and brilliant gold.
Wow. Will they be here?
Yeah, they will leave shortly thereafter, but they will completely turn before they leave.
That's a merganser.
Where?
Oh,
No,
here.
those, okay, which,
The little ducks.
the two little ducks coming towards us here, yeah, that's a pair of scaup.
Oh, that's
Uh,
I was looking at the
yeah, those are lesser, yeah, the female is, the brown one in front, they're both the same species.
Wow.
She's in front, he's in back.
Wow. Look at his. It looks purple.
Yeah, that's,
Wow. That's so cool.
with a lesser scaup, if you can look at him looking straight at you, there's a straight black line from the point of the beak going up a half an inch or so. Where on a greater scaup, instead of being a straight line, it's a sort of triangular mustache. When these guys come up with an easy sight, look at the very end of the bill. If the end of the bill has a straight black line on it, it's one species of scaup, and if it's a triangle, it's the other one. Straights are lessers, and triangles are greaters.
Their bill is, looks to me almost blue.
Yes. And you usually, these are the ones with the black and gray ones with the blue bills are drakes. These are the boys. The girls don't tend to come in as much, although I think that's one over there. Yeah, that's a female of whatever, I'm not sure. Keep an eye on that brown duck. If she picks up her head and I'm not looking and there's no white around the beak, let me know, please. Because if she has white around her bill, she's a girl of what these are the boys of. But if there's no white, she's something else. Okay, get one to you. Ah!
Oop, head up. She's white right around the bill.
Yep, yep, she's a scaup. If you, all the way down this walk, if you see a brown duck-shaped duck like this, with no white around the beak, do sing out, because it's going to be something else. And these are all lesser so far. Lesser, lesser, lesser.
Lesser's the triangle?
No, lesser's the straight. If you're seeing a triangle, let me know. Also, you see how their heads are sort of glowing purple? Most of the time, the lessers have purple heads and the greaters have green glowing heads. But if the sun is just right, the greaters will have purple and the lessers will have green. So it's a sun color and you can't rely on it. Just like almost all the time when you see a mallard drake, his head is that brilliant green.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, it's beautiful shimmering navy blue instead. Look at him under the water, under the water, under the water. How far down he goes. So these guys swim with their feet kind of splayed out beside them. The little bitty grebes, if you see them underwater, they've got their feet all the way up over the back, and they look like little helicopters down there.
Come some more.
Yeah. If you look along the island from the tree where the snowy egrets are, tick, 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 about 4 of those upright logs over, there is a great blue heron doing his famous corn dog act. He has everything recognizable wrapped up between his wings and shoulders.
So those little guys.
On the floats, most of the gulls on the floats are ring-billed gulls, which is one of the best bird names out there. A ring-billed gull has a nice black rubber band around the end of his bill. It's perfect. But do not let that fool you into thinking that bird names are understandable.
I think there's a pied-billed freedom.
This is the first time that we've run this program with the video taken live on a real walk. If you've seen it before, it was always where Rob and Katie and I met at the lake some other day and walked around to see what we could photograph. But this was a real bird walk with real birders watching it. So, questions? I said the only real question that's come up is, are screenshots okay? I don't have a problem with it. Katie, do you care if people
Sure.
take screenshots from the
Oh
program?
yeah, screenshots, sure. Why not?
Hey, go for it. Any questions now? Or I've actually got a little slideshow too, focusing on all the stuff we didn't see during the walk. Should we run that now or wait till after the next video? Let's wait till after the next video, because then you'll know that you haven't seen what we didn't see.
Are there any questions out there?
Speak now.
So somebody saw some coots fighting to the death
I've seen
on the
them
lake.
fight. I haven't actually seen anything die. The green-footed bird that someone is asking for is the coot. You see them, they swim on the lake and they're swimming with their heads going back and forth and they're going little old coots. And
How do they do
are
that
very
again?
aggressive against each other, but I haven't actually seen them kill each other. Whoa.
How do they do that again, Hilary?
Drown them.
They're swimming around and they're doing what?
They're attacking each other, and I've seen them attempt to one bird force the other under the water, but I've never seen it work.
No.
Fighting over a female, yeah, they do a whole lot of fighting over females.
So Hilary, have they ever been known to actually breed in Lake Merritt? Or
Coots?
yes.
No. Coots want to breed among cattails, and we have no cattails to offer.
And
So
is it
just
at all
doesn't happen.
possible to tell the sexes by looking at them, or?
Nope. Oh, actually, there is a
Oh.
time when you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at a pair of coots and one is on top and the other is on the bottom, you know which one is the boy, assuming they're not in the water. You
Oh.
had coots nesting. James, I see you saying you had coots nesting there. I've never seen it. Did you have cattails on the island? Because
You
I
can
that
unmute
would-
Jim.
Yeah, they had a few cattails around the edge of the pond there on Island 1, so that was just enough habitat for them to nest successfully out there.
yeah, that's all they need.
Yeah, that was probably
Cool.
50 years ago.
That is extraordinary. And because they're very interesting parents. They carry their babies on the back, right?
Coots, no.
No, they don't. Sorry, take that back.
It's the grebes that carry the babies.
Okay, but they have really weird colors.
They have
babies
really
have
weird
colors.
babies.
That's
The
what I'm
babies' heads
remembering.
are red and sort of fuzzy and white and yellow. And basically, nature is not warm and fuzzy. A coot has a baby she doesn't want, she'll kill it.
Yeah.
They are very focused on maximizing their chances. And it ain't Disney. James, do you happen to have a picture of the lake from 50 years ago, the lake surface?
Oh, I don't have any of those pictures here on the computer, but
Oh, well.
I have some from the past, but it would take a little digging to get them out. Yeah.
Sometime between now and the next program, I would love to have shown a couple tonight. I've got something that is almost but not quite as good. But that would have been neat. Where do coots originate? I just watched the whole Golden Gate Audubon class on evolution of birds, and it was all about cladology and not about interior evolution. So much of it didn't register. Rob, are you asking where do coots originate when they come
Well,
here?
where are they? Yeah, I mean they're just coming by here to vacation, right?
Yeah, they basically, the lake has everything a coot wants except a patch of reeds to bring up babies in. So they go off, they're up at Temescal. They're all over the Bay Area. They don't leave to breed, they just leave Lake Merritt to breed. Because we don't have proper apartments for them. Let's go ahead with the second video.
Over there on the pipe in the middle of the pond, there's a little black bird wearing a white shirt. That's a black phoebe. He's here for the bugs. There's a place come around where I'm looking. There's what looks like a. Okay, so what's going on there? I'm pretty sure that was a titmouse. They're the ones that seem to like those best.
Just went in.
Oh, I turned away at the wrong moment.
Yeah. It looked bigger than I expected.
Well, just the proportion. They look much smaller when they're out loose in a tree.
Right. But getting through that little hole.
Well, you know, birds change their size. I mean, there's really not much bird in there. I'm big, but if I sucks my feathers in. And each of these lamps has one of those, and sometimes they're all inhabited. This is really high-class real estate. If you're a cavity nesting bird, you've got something out of reach of predators, out of the rain.
Really safe.
It has everything that you want in a nest.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say about the Kaltoe?
Just that they're some of the cheekiest birds you'll see. So that bird is not bothered by us. A bunch of sparrows would have flown off, but that Kaltoe doesn't care. The main thing to wonder about is where is the other one? You almost never see one without another one being within earshot of it, because they pair off and they stay paired. But those birds will actually hop through. If you've got a sliding door in your garden, they'll hop on into your house because they know they're the color of the dust and they don't care. Those are your basic, ordinary feral park pigeons. But you saw them. You didn't have to worry about what they were. You saw them like you see a human being and go, oh, that's a human being. You don't have to figure out that it has limbs with 5 branches at the ends. Because one of the things, the more you bird, the more you see. The birds will move into your brain and you can feel your brain growing to make room for them, which is one of the most amazing sensations. It's what I've loved about birding ever since I'd been doing it long enough to be able to tell a pigeon that seeing a pigeon was different from identifying a sparrow. Down on the floats there are some very large gray-backed gulls with bright pink feet, and those are western gulls. The little bitty brown ducks, most of them with their tails sticking straight up, are ruddy ducks. And if you look at them carefully, some of them are actually starting to turn ruddy. When they get all the way into their plumage, the backs are the red-headed auburn color, the heads are black, the cheeks are white, and the beaks are sky blue. The idea of the beak changing color just boggles my mind. You think about a beak being a set thing, but no. These are cork oaks. They're not our regular wild oaks. That gnarly bark is what they make cork for wine bottles out of. The fashion now in American parks is to plant the native vegetation, let people see what they should be seeing. But the fashion 100 years ago was to give the poor benighted locals a tour of the world. And so these babies are from Europe. They're cork oaks, they like the climate here, but that bark is not unnatural. If you look at the oaks behind us here, how smooth they are, and compare them to the ones over here.
There is a yellow rump warbler in that tree over it, and then that one over there.
Oh, cool.
The farther one? Yes, yeah. There's one kind of in the middle hopping around. You'll see it, yellow.
Stopped here because we've come across my favorite tree in the park. Every time I come near this beautiful conifer, looks like a cross between a conifer and a weeping willow over here. And I've got to just stop and worship that tree. What that is, does anybody know what it is? It is a dawn redwood, which is a tree that was believed to be extinct, 50 million years gone from the world. But then in the middle of the last century, a few were found in China. And immediately, every public park in the United States had to have at least one.
Is it the same genus as our sequoias?
It's the same, it's in the same general family of trees as redwoods. You notice it doesn't do cones. It has those long weepy things. And it will lose its needles. Right now, that's a perfectly live tree. It's happy. There's nothing wrong with that tree.
So it's deciduous.
It's a deciduous conifer. In another month or so, it will start coming out in green mist, and it will have green, when we get over there, we'll pick up a piece. They're really redwood looking.
Not deciduous.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is a Pacific Coast redwood, but it will have little sprays of needles just about like these, because it is a related tree, It just isn't the one you usually see. The two trees across the crosswalk from each other over here are catalpa trees. They're from the southern United States, and this is the one place in the park where if we've got sapsuckers, we'll see them on those trees. It's probably a little too late in the year for them now, but put your binoculars on the trunks and you'll see the rows of horizontal rows of holes that the sapsuckers have made. The way these birds feed is fascinating because they drill these rows of holes and then the tree leaks sap into them and the bird goes back around and eats the sap and eats any bugs that have gotten in there to eat the sap. And other birds come and eat the sap. They're very, feeding stations. And what we have here are chestnut-backed chickadees, which they're our local bread and butter chickadee, but they have a very small range from here up along the coast into Oregon. So people from other places come here especially to see the rarity. I wonder if these guys are likely to be hungry here. There's somebody up in the pine tree there. There's somebody over here. I'm hearing them. Somebody just flew overhead. What joy.
Somebody has trained the chickadees and some of the titmice in the park to come to your hand if you've got black oil sunflower seed or unsalted peanuts. And there's just nothing like it. The feel of those little cold feet on your finger. It really is amazing. Which birds change colors? Of the ones that we're looking at out there, the grebes all change colors. The ducks change colors mostly during the summer. There's a period between June and September, October, where all of the male mallards look like girls. There are two sort of twisted, not very happy dawn redwoods in the garden, but the one that I was looking at is between the lawn bowling center and the garden center. The trees near the bandstand are catalpa, C-A-T-A-L-P-A trees. They ain't native to this area. And I've been in other parks that had them, and the sapsuckers all like different trees. But here they're on the catalpas. The scene with the hand feeding is in the garden, around between, in that stand of redwoods behind the pond in the middle of the garden. Anything else? Let me switch to the slideshow that I've got here then. And I'm not going to be able to see the chat while the slideshow is running, so I'll come in and out of screen sharing occasionally to see what's going on. But focus here is on what we didn't see. Sometimes it's things that were there that the group was looking at, but the camera couldn't pick up. And sometimes it's things that are just should have been there and weren't. So I'm going to share that one. So recognize these birds from what we've been talking about? This is a flock of scaup from several years ago, and it's probably got more scaup in it than were on the lake Wednesday last. And it still doesn't have very many scaup in it, because the big thing that we weren't seeing at the lake was the armies of birds that filled the lake in years past. I can remember I moved to the lake in the early 90s, and the surface of the lake between the islands and Embarcadero was almost black with birds, mostly scaup. And even then, that was not very many birds. I have heard that in the 1940s, they were banding birds on the island. They'd go out and catch them and bring them in, or lure them in somehow. And they were banding 4,000 individual birds a day during the height of the season. It's just, we had birds and now we have not birds. There are still just about as many species as ever, but the numbers really are way, way down. Another bird, this guy showed up in the trivia quiz at the beginning. These are canvasbacks. The ones with the canvas backs and the red heads are the boys, and the sort of sand-colored ones are the girls. And we've had a few here this winter. I've never seen this many of them together at one time. But they're really easy to recognize because if you look at their profile, from the top of the head to the end of the bill, it's like a ski jump, just all one long duck slide. There's another kind of bird that has a red head like this that we've gotten once or twice over the years, but it's shaped more like a scalp with a regular head and a bill sticking out the front of it. So if you see them at the same time at the lake, you would never confuse the two. We had a bunch of these here this winter. These are bufflehead. The girl on the left, the boy on the right. They're tiny, just about the same size as ruddy ducks, and beautiful. Very common with ducks like this that the male is decorative, bright, shiny, black and white, and fancy colors, fancy feathers. And the female is brown, drab, retiring looking. That's because it's her job to raise the babies and his job to get eaten. Once he's done his job with the family, he's really got very, very little else to do except to distract predators. This is a bird that we actually saw on the weekend, but we never could get the camera on it properly. This is the Barrow's goldeneye, where the common goldeneye has a round white spot like a full moon on the side of the face. Barrow's has this crescent. Here's one we haven't seen for years. We had one of these bad boys showing up every year. This is a tufted duck, like a scalp with a black back and a ponytail. And there was supposed to be a female at the lake for a while this year. I never did see her. They come and they go, but this guy we had regularly for several years in a row. And so people were making it the lake was a destination for birders, because this is an Asian bird that we're not supposed to see here. So I'm going to stop this screen sharing for a moment. Any action? Aha! The garden even has a giant sequoia. Yeah. So back to the screen share.
We did answer the question about hand feeding.
I did answer it.
You did answer that, yes.
It was, we were in the garden, in the grove of redwoods behind the ponds. So back to the duck. We certainly saw these guys. This is a double-crested cormorant, but you notice that he's not all black. That is a baby cormorant. He was probably hatched in the year this photograph was taken. And how can I tell? Because he's not black. Adult double-crested cormorants are inky black, except for that orange throat patch, where the youngsters are sort of fawn-colored. We had them, I'm hoping that we'll have them nesting here at the lake again this year. They nested last year for the first time in about 4 years. And so we should be seeing youngsters here this year anyway, because they come in. It's a good fishing area. But when there are nests at the lake, I spent years looking at those nests and not finding the babies in them. I knew they had to be there. But I was looking for sort of fawn-colored birds like this. And it turns out that baby double-crested cormorants have down that is as black as their parents' feathers. Blackety black down. And they don't turn fawn-colored like this until they're about ready to leave the nest. Here we go. Group of egrets in the picture. The 3 birds in the front are not babies of the big bird in the back. What you've got here are 3 snowy egrets, like the ones that were sitting on the dead bush that had fallen into the lake. And the one in the back is a great egret. Yeah, you don't have a great heron at the lake, but we do have a great egret. You can tell the difference between them because if you look at the beaks, the great egret has that bright yellow beak, and the snowies have black beaks with just a little yellow skin around the base. If they were out of the water where you could see their feet, the one with the yellow beak has black feet, and the ones with the black beaks have yellow feet, almost golden slippers. And they use them to fish with. It's really funny to watch because they sit there and they shake their little feetsies around and trying to look attractive to the little fishies. Oh, look, there are worms in the water. We should go eat them. No, bad fishy. Here's one of my favorite things. This is a picture of 2 birds. One of them is a crow and one of them is a raven. And I bet you don't have any trouble telling which is which in this picture. When a crow is alone, it's often very easy to mistake it or have your mind try to turn it into a raven. But when you see a raven, you never wonder whether it's a crow or not. The beak is just out of this world different. It also has if you see them flying overhead, a raven has a tail that comes to a point when it spreads, and a crow tail is a round fan because all the feathers on that crow tail are the same length, where the raven has feathers that are much longer in the middle. Okay, here we are with another little coot. This here, the small coots that we saw before. Boy, now I touched. Okay, this is a horned grebe. It's actually about the same size as an eared grebe, but you can tell the difference because of the way the head is sort of half black and half white. And I'm just telling myself that, and I'm talking through my head. A horned grebe looks almost like a miniature Western grebe, and there is at least a chance that my picture is mislabeled, and that is a Western grebe and not a horned grebe. But that's what it would look like regardless. The thing that is really funny about this picture is this thing sticking up in the back. That's a foot. These grebes have their legs mounted so far back on their body that they can't really walk. They can sort of scurch around on the land a little ways, but they live in the water and in the air because they really are not adapted for getting out of the water. The other reason that I have this picture in here is that that's what these, even if it isn't an eared grebe, that's what they look like in their basic plumage. When they put on their party clothes, they look like that, which is just got to be one of the most decorative birds in America. Again, the same copper and steel and gold, but a little bit differently arranged. I'm pretty sure that was a Western grebe in that previous picture. Because one of the cute tricks about these guys, they've got a little white point on the end of the beak. And yeah, that's a Western grebe. That is not an eared grebe beak. Anyway. One of the things that I am perfectly capable of being is wrong. For years, I've told that story about the dawn redwood, about how it doesn't have cones, it has those trailing streamers. And just now, I'm putting this show together, I learned that, oh yeah, it does have regular female cones like any other redwood. But the pollen cones are those long streamer things. So if you look very closely at the tree, you might see some round balls, but boy, does it go into the pollen business. Okay, getting back.
Hilary, could I say something about the dawn redwood that I learned?
Yeah, okay, let me skip to sharing here.
Oh, no. Oh, I just thought I would, because you had brought that back up again, but I had heard from, I believe it was from Carol Levinson, that the monarch butterflies were roosting in that dawn redwood. And it was what they were doing there was kind of hard to fathom, and they don't really belong together, but it was an interesting use that tree had for local butterflies. So but that was interesting.
I have seen the butterflies swarming in the garden, and possibly on the ones that are in the garden. I've never seen them on that tree.
And they do. There's there was a coastal redwood, I think, that's in the garden that they like to roost
Yeah,
in.
they like that coastal redwood.
Yeah.
They like something in the garden near the dawn redwoods that are in there.
Yeah.
But boy, I've never seen a butterfly touch that tree.
We'll have to talk to Carol about that. Yeah.
Pictures. What do they say? The pictures or it ain't happen.
Oh.
Anyway.
And I was riffing about being wrong, if I can. How we showed the picture of, so being wrong is so important in science because that's how you learn things. And I wanted to publicly declare that I was wrong about the how salty the lake in Fukuoka was, because I thought it might be a tiny bit brackish because it used to connect to the ocean, and then they covered in the channel, but apparently they did a really good job. And Tony found that the saltiness of that lake was 0. So I'm wrong. But for a long time I held out that it might be a little bit brackish like our Lake Merritt, but it isn't. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Hilary.
Okay, not a problem, Katie. Okay, so you weren't talking about our Lake Merritt, which is seriously brackish.
Yes.
Which one were you speaking of?
The lake that's in the center of our sister city, Fukuoka. It's called Lake
gotcha.
Ohori, and it used to be connected by a channel to the ocean. And I was wondering if there might have been salt intrusion going in underneath, with the groundwater, but no sign of it.
Ah, okay. So anyway, back to the pictures here. This little brown bird, actually, it's a big brown bird. It's the size of a chicken on 2 or 3 times a chicken's legs, is a patchier black-crowned night heron, Oakland City bird. And this guy is what that one will look like when it grows up. That's an adult black-crowned night heron. Again, we see them a lot at the lake. I have not been seeing so many adults this year, but we've been seeing a lot of babies out there. This is a green heron. It's smaller than a black-crowned night heron. And as you'll see, it's not really green. It gets a kind of green sheen if the light hits it just right. But it's really gray with that wonderful cinnamon chest. And we used to see them almost every month sneaking along the rocks on the islands. And I haven't seen one all year this year. They used to nest out there on the islands. And the raccoons go out on the islands. And I'm pretty sure that there hasn't been a green heron fledged out there in the last 5 or 6 years. That's just fun. This is a domestic Muscovy duck. Honking big duck, almost the size of a goose, but sort of lengthened and flattened like a duck. And it's always got that red chewing gum on its face like a turkey. There really are wild Muscovy ducks. They're slimmer than that and a little pointier looking. And they have some warts on the face, but for some reason, the wild ones all have black warts and not this red chewing gum look. We used to have several of them dumped at the lake. We are Muscovy-less at the moment. But if you see something that looks like that at the lake, it is not an invasion from outer space. It's a Muscovy duck, which comes from South America, and where the Muscovy part comes from, I do not know, because it ain't Moscow. Here's somebody that we often have at the lake. This is a female belted kingfisher, otherwise known as a queenfisher. And a California scrub jay. And Cooper's hawks. We have nesting Cooper's hawks at the lake and in the park. The main pair of Cooper's hawks fledged 5 babies in the garden this year. And then you never know what kind of birds you're going to see at Lake Merritt. I actually came across that in the parking lot at Lake Merritt. It's another kind of birdie at the lake. Rainbow colors yet. What kind of birds change colors?
Hey, Hilary, I found an old picture of Lake Merritt. If I could share it real quick.
Yes, please.
I think this is Jim Cavell's dad. No. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, here it comes in. This is probably when they were collecting them to ban them. I've seen pictures similar to this where they're out on the lake surface, and it's just beak to tail and shoulder to shoulder as far as the eye can see.
Oh, Hilary, Jerry Lips says he has some pictures of the surface of the lake he'd like to share. Old
By
ones.
me. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, I'm gonna make him a co-host so he could share
right,
his screen.
yes.
Okay, Jerry.
My microphone is, oh, there it's on. This is a view from Jackson Street out at the lake. It's probably in the 1880s.
Is that clubhouse building where we were looking at the pigeons?
I don't know.
Looks too far away from the lake.
Yeah, if that's the lake in the background. What's next?
Let me advance this thing.
So what we're really looking for is pictures that, not just pictures around the lake, but pictures of the lake covered with birds.
Oh, well, I don't have a lot of birds.
Yeah, that's where we are tonight. Lake history, some of this would be gorgeous for.
Okay, well, anyway, there's a bunch of them there.
Yes.
There's water.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Yeah, thank you. This is the
I don't
neat
have any
off
birds.
topic.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one of Adam's Point.
Back when it was a point.
Yeah.
So Hilary, are there records of going back quite a ways of the ducks and the various fowl that were observed at Lake Merritt with the Audubon Society then it would have been?
There are some. Actually, could we stop the screen share and go back to the regular program?
Yeah. Can you unshare, Derry?
Yeah.
I have read. I don't have them myself, and Golden Gate lost records when they moved from one office to another, and some things didn't make the trip. I think that you could probably get to the Christmas bird counts going back 100 odd years. You could go to. I know that the most common bird at the lake in the 1940s they had a lot of widgeon and a lot of pintails there, which we now almost never see at the lake.
I have records from the Christmas counts back in the 1930s that my dad kept. And so we have some information. Of course, that was just, one snapshot of time, but those counts are around.
Okay. Do you have them in front of you, or
No.
if you send us a note and then we can sort of package it with the notes from the program.
No. Yeah.
Katie, can we do that?
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. Please, we'll send
Oh,
out.
here we
This
go.
is beautiful. Yes. And if they're banding, I think one of those structures is for banding, isn't it?
Yes.
And there would have been records for that.
You see that funny looking square fountain in the middle? That's what had the Black Phoebe on it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
In the in the video. Wow.
Sure does look the same. Oh wow, there's some birds.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of pintails. You see the ones with the white stripe going up the side of the neck? Those are pintails. We had a pintail at the lake for a few months several years ago. A lot of coots standing around out there. I think if you wanted to know what had the most ducks at the lake today, it was probably ruddy ducks. The population of ruddy ducks used to be much smaller than the population of scaup, but we've still got the ruddy ducks. And the scaup are farther away. Leaning over to peer at that picture on my screen.
Okay, Hilary, we're we're at 8 o'clock mark, and I'm wondering if would it be a good time to just have a pause to do our end of program credits and then return to a discussion if you have time to return.
I
So
can
there's
stay.
really big questions are in the chat about the ponds and people's questions about that, but I'd love to return to that. If you'll stay with us for just about 3 or 4 minutes, I'd like to share my screen, and we will just thank the people who have made this program possible and also the programs that we've been doing around the lake. So here we are. I'm about ready to share if all goes well. Yes. So we want to thank everybody for coming tonight and sharing in this wonderful virtual experience of a walk at Lake Merritt with Hilary Powers. We want to thank the Golden Gate Bird Alliance, and we would also like to thank our Achieve high school volunteers, New Voices Are Rising fellows, and all the community scientists, iNaturalists participants, the Lake Merritt Institute, Adopt a Spot, Measure DD, the California Climate Action Corps fellows, and the City of Oakland for taking care of our wildlife refuge. Coming up soon, coming up in the next 2 months, we have our next Lakeside chat, which will be on Friday, April 11th. And this will be our 53rd chat. It will be called Salmon in Lake Merritt and in San Francisco Bay, featuring biologist Emily Chen. And the smell of the salmon carcasses has started to dispel at Lake Merritt, but it was quite a scene to see all of these large deceased fish in our lake. What the heck was going on? We're going to further that discussion and learn the bigger picture here and some of the science techniques that are used to study the migrating salmon, the anadromous fish that come through San Francisco Bay. I'm sorry, I'm hearing something. Okay, on Saturday the 19th, the City of Oakland will be celebrating Earth Day, and we will be having an event centered at the Sailboat House Marsh, and we'll be doing our usual water testing, plankton viewing, planting native plants, and so forth. The iNaturalist project called City Nature Challenge will take place at the end of April. And on one day, on the 27th, we'll be having a table out at the lake and help people to make iNaturalist observations to compete with other cities around the world to identify our native species that are around us in our city. We have new dates coming up. There's a Snapshot Cal Coast that will be throughout the month of June. So many opportunities to look at diversity and biodiversity in Lake Merritt coming up. Okay, our Lakeside chats are produced by Rob Lamone, and the recordings that we make will be posted on our playlist. We have all of them going back to the very first ones in 2020. And you can see the current Lakeside Chat recording on KTOP Channel 10 TV of City of Oakland. Go there and you will find the schedule for that. The first 2 weeks of the month feature older programs, and we have a wonderful collection of all different topics there for you to choose from, the older golden oldies. And then the 2 weeks of the month will show the current Lakeside chat from that month. So this show will be eventually available and shown on KTOP. We have, if you're enjoying our Lakeside Chat series, please consider making a tax-deductible donation to Rotary Nature Center Friends so we can continue these chats and outreach to young people and everyone in the community through in-person stewardship and science events. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have two big projects. Our high-quality water testing program, which will continue, and also we're hoping to find more scientific information about the salmon, and these are projects that will need additional funding in the future. So if you feel you'd like to support us, that would be so awesome. You can make a donation on our website, and also we'll include this information in our post-chat email. We want to thank the Lake Merritt Breakfast Club Charitable Foundation for a donation this spring. We have updated the bird signs all along the path at Lake Merritt. So some of the species we've been talking about will have little posters with some tidbits of information and their distribution and so forth for you to enjoy. We also want to thank our New Voices Are Rising partners. Some of these high school students have made bird posters, which you'll see posted on the fences. And we would also like to thank the Elks, San Francisco Elks, for their generous donation for our programs. So we want to thank all of our volunteers going back and people who come out. I'm posting on our Facebook page the times where we're going to be going out to put up more bird signs, to do some stewardship in the marsh, and hopefully that will, if you want to become involved, take a look there. That seems to be the best way to get the information out at this moment. We also would like to thank the Frederick E. Hart Foundation for educational opportunity that has been supporting our efforts for since we incorporated. We have other important events coming up, which we'll tell you more about in upcoming website and Linktree and so forth. So we want to make a special thank you to Rob, our producer, to our various community supporters, to Kristen Furman for art and design and so many beautiful posters, photos in Unnatural Star Birds. And please visit our website and get in contact with me or with David Wofford if you're interested in bringing a group out to see some of the things that we do and participate in both science and stewardship at Lake Merritt. Thank you all very much. And now I would like to return our program to our guest speaker, Hilary Powers, to continue our discussion. Thank you. Now I will bow out. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have,
got a few questions here. Someone asked which was the crow and which was the raven, and someone else answered it very well. The crow is the bird in the front. The smaller bird, if you only ever saw a crow, you'd go, boy, that bird has a big beak. But somebody on one of the bird identification sites I like on Facebook always says, well, you can tell the difference because a crow is a bird with a beak and a raven is a beak with a bird.
That's clever. Yeah.
There is one other picture that I had wanted to include in the slideshow, and I got permission from the photographer to use it at about 2 minutes before I had to join the program. But I do have it separately here, and I just want to share it because it's one of the wonders of the world. Share. Ever seen one of those? This is a bird that spent 4 or 5 duck seasons at the lake, and it's pretty clearly a hybrid. One of its parents was a bird called a hooded merganser, which is a really lovely creature all on its own. and the other parent was a Barrow's goldeneye. And it has almost exactly a mix. If you showed a little kid pictures of both of those birds and then said, draw what their baby looks like, you'd get that shape of head and a little bit of white along the top of the wing and the spur at the shoulder. What you wouldn't get is the muscle in the beak. See that shell there? This bird is pretty clearly the offspring. It grew up in a goldeneye nest. It thought of itself as a goldeneye. It swam with the goldeneyes, and it picked shellfish off the floor of the lake with the goldeneyes. And it has that beak isn't any wider than it looks. It's a very narrow, pointy, little weaselly fish eater's beak. But somehow he managed to get enough food off of shellfish to raise himself up in perfect health. So I trust you. Okay, this doesn't look like the last time are you seeing the bird, or am I talking through my hat here?
No, we're seeing the bird.
Okay. Oh, there it is. I couldn't see the stop share button. But ain't he amazing? Jerry Ting took that picture back in 2007. But I had lost touch with him, and it took me all day to the very last minute in order to find him, because I don't like to use pictures that I haven't been given for the purpose. Any other questions?
We do have questions about the bird ponds and their future, and also about
I'm not sure they want me to answer them. Bird ponds are alleged to have plumbing trouble. That they can't keep water in them for very long. To which says I, well, they're not supposed to keep water in them for very long because they're supposed to be cleaned out every week or so and refilled. But the word that I've heard, and I have no idea whether it's true or not, is that it would cost $20,000 to redo the plumbing in those ponds. And they ain't gonna do it. Good news about the Kids Arts Nature Center is open. That building
that's the Junior Art and Science Center.
Yeah.
Yes, that is open now, and it's that is a public-private partnership, and it's wonderful that it is now open. Another really wonderful bright spot has been the paving of the walkway in front of the Rotary Nature Center. And I have a photo somewhere I could show, but the Oakland Public Works has finished a project at all. I mean, given the current financial condition of the city and so many barriers, they finished this project, and now you can safely walk around, past the nature center and even up to the door without falling in a crack. So that's wonderful.
That is wonderful. Now all I have to do is open the nature center. Yes, indeed.
And coordinate with all of the people who are providing programming and have things to offer and ideas to share and so forth. So hopefully that will eventually happen.
Okay, I'm not okay. Miriam is asking about two big geese on the lake.
Oh, at the channel.
Yeah. So up by the channel, because there are a couple of domestic gray-lag geese out at the far end by the 12th Street Bridge. But it sounds like she's talking more about the Embarcadero end. A couple of greater white-fronted geese have been seen there. Not real recently. Okay, nobody has told me about them lately, but
If
we
she went to the tide gates in the channel area and just inside, there are domestic geese that are there in fairly large numbers.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
people.
free legs.
Problem with waterfowl in the city is that people get baby goose, baby ducky. It's so cute. And then it starts to grow and it starts to grow and it's a great big quacker and it's cracking all over the lawn. And people say, oh, we can't live with this anymore. And the kid says, no, we can't eat Mr. Duck. So they say, well, we'll take him to the park. He'll live there and be happy. And you can come and visit him. And so you can for a while until he dies, because public parks are not good places for domestic waterfowl. They're better than suburban lawns, but not by much.
And I believe it is illegal to do that, to
The
release them.
big white guys they're domestic gray leg geese, and you can always tell a domestic goose if he's swimming in the water. His tail will be pointing 45 degrees. Wait, can I do this with my arms? Okay, there's the goose's head, and his tail is pointing up like this, sort of 45-degree angle from the back of his neck to the point of his tail. Where if you look at the Canada geese or the white fronts and whatnot, their backs are more or less flat. The head is up or the head is down, but the back is flat. But a domestic goose, the tail is up like this. If he's walking down around on the ground, it's a sort of the same thing in reverse. His tail, he looks like he's got a full diaper. The whole back end of the goose comes down in a long triangle towards the ground. And that's the product of yumpty 1,000 generations of do-it-yourself genetic engineering. A fat goose is a good goose. If you're raising geese in a subsistence economy, the fat is the most valuable thing about a goose. And so the goose with the more fat is the one that you want to give you more baby geese, because they will be fat too.
Thank you. And we'll definitely want to invite you again, because it's always such a wonderful and unique experience to go on a virtual bird walk with you.
Every fourth Wednesday.
Yes, not to be missed if you're in the area. It's really wonderful. Okay, well, I think it is time for us to say goodnight, and everybody have a safe and a safe and enjoyable weekend ahead. And we really want you to come back next month. We're going to have a really great show again about the salmon, and I will be posting on our Facebook page events, times when I'm going to be out there doing something, or we'll all be out there doing some kind of stewardship task, and we could really use some help. We're trying to get organized in that way. So thank you so much.
Those are snowy egrets, and I was hoping to cut a little picture of one in there so you could see it.